I am Ernest Mino and this is Joy News Prime. Welcome. Speaker of Parliament leads push for speedy passage of the anti-gay bill as he declares that the consideration of the bill will be public with each member position made known.
The committee will be public and the decision of this House will be public.
We'll tell you why the Speaker has made the bill Parliament's top priority on the first day of sitting from its recess. Also tonight, the Supreme Court has, in a two separate ruling, dismissed claims of bias and compromise against Justices Jones Doche and Clemens Onyanuga in a trial of former Cocoa Board CEO Dr. Stephen Opuni and businessman Seidu Agongo. We have details as the AG describes the allegation by Dr. Opuni's lawyers as vain gymnastics devoid of substance. Minority describes as unconstitutional an announcement by Greater Accra Minister banning Aboboya from the city's major roads effective November 1.
There's no law in this country that gives power to a regional minister to determine which vehicles drive on which roads.
But the minister insists he got the backing of all 29 assemblies, including 20 NDC MPs in the Greater Accra region. And coming up in business,
Venture Capital Trust Fund targets youth employment in $45 million economic program.
Fortunately for us, the Ministry of Finance has put us on the Ghana Economic Transformation Program, a program that is going to actually give us about 45 million USD that we are going to invest over the next 4 or 5 years.
And later in showbiz, it thrilled Shatter movement as their king, Shatta Wale, and rapper Medical are granted bail by the Accra Circuit Court.
SM is for the youth president. The movement. Last week, before.
We need Shatta. We need Shatta. We need Shatta.
We have details here on Joy News Prime, which is coming to you live from our Fanafa studios at Kukumlemle, Accra. You're live on DSTV channel 421, Go TV 144. This is your home of independent, fearless, credible, and impactful journalism. Stay tuned in. Hello again, many thanks for joining us. My name is Ernest Mino. Now, a 7-member panel of the Supreme Court presided by Justice Jones Doche has overturned its earlier decision to disallow one of its own, Justice Clemens Onyanuga, from sitting as trial judge in the case involving the former Cocoa Board CEO, Dr. Stephen Opuni, and businessman Seidu Agongo. According to the court, the initial allegations of compromise against Justice Onyanuga are unfounded. Meanwhile, the court has also dismissed claims of bias raised against Justice Jones Doche by lawyers of Dr. Opuni in its trial. The court said there's no compelling basis to impugn the integrity of the senior Supreme Court judge. Pakwisi Chandov was in court for Joy News, and here's his report read to you. On Tuesday, October 26, the Supreme Court was faced with two critical issues. The first, Attorney General Godfrey Dibuadame was praying the Apex Court to set aside its earlier majority Onyanuga from sitting as trial judge in the case involving Dr. Stephen Opuni and Seidu Agongo. The second issue, lawyers of Dr. Stephen Opuni challenged the neutrality of Justice Jones Doche to hear the review application filed by the Attorney General. At the start of proceedings, lawyers for Dr. Opuni raised an objection challenging the propriety of the Attorney General to argue in court. According to them, since the was already the plaintiff in the review case, he should not be heard on the matter. The court upheld the objection and barred the Attorney General from making submissions before the bench. He was, however, represented by colleague lawyers who appeared with him in court. The court then proceeded to determine the two substantive issues accordingly. On the allegations of bias against Justice Jones Doche, the court presided over by Justice Gabriel Puaman held that there was no substantial evidence to impugn the integrity of the senior Supreme Court judge to sit on the case. According to the 3-member bench, even though Justice Jones Doche had a recent interaction with the Attorney General, there was no incriminating evidence to question his neutrality. The court subsequently dismissed the claims against Justice Doche. Having made this pronouncement, Justice Doche assumed his seat as the presiding judge in the review application by the Attorney General. In a ruling read by him, the court upheld the review application and cleared Justice Onyanuga to sit on the trial involving the former Cocoa Board CEO and businessman Seydou Agongo. Dr. Puni, Mr. Agongo, and Agricult Ghana Company Limited are facing 27 charges of willfully causing financial loss of 217 million Ghana cedis to the state through separate fertilizer supply contracts between 2014 and 2016. We stay in the court, and 29-year-old Joanna Crowe, who faked her kidnapping in Takrady in the Western region, has been sentenced to 6 years imprisonment with hard labor by the Takrady Circuit Court. She was initially sentenced separately based on her 2 charges, which she pleaded guilty to at the same court on Monday. Natalia Kwanzaa was in court for Joy News.
Joanna Crowe, the 29-year-old who is at the center of the recent fake kidnap case in Takrady, arrived at the Takrady Court A this morning looking remorseful. She was immediately ushered into the courtroom from a taxi by 2 police CIDs. In court, the presiding judge, Michael Kujo-Ampadu, demanded that a pregnancy test should be conducted on the convict before he gives out the ruling. She was immediately rushed out of the courtroom by the 2 CIDs towards the European hospital and brought back after close to 1 hour. Her case was recalled, and she was sentenced based on 2 charges she had pleaded guilty to on Monday when she appeared before court. Her first charge, the deceit of public officers, for which she was given a 6-year sentence. The convict's second charge was publication of false news with the intent to cause fear and panic, which brought her a sentence of 2 years imprisonment with hard labor. The court added that the verdict was also meant to send a strong signal to residents to desist from venturing into this seemingly growing trend of fake kidnappings. Jonathan Awotwe, a brother of Susan Awotwe, one of the accomplices speaking to the media, says the sentence will serve as a deterrent to everyone within the Western region.
As a citizen, if such cases being ongoing in this region, especially Western region, I think the court has used her as a scapegoat so that people will learn. But what I would say is nobody should try. Nobody should try to practice it. It's not a good act. So that's what I would tell the nation, that it is fair justice that the court has made, but if something will be done, that will be later issue. I'm so sad. I'm so sad. But as a Christian, I will say whatever the Lord will say, nobody can say something about it. So this will be a lesson, even to me as a brother, no? If I have even think to do such it is a lesson to me.
Some residents in Takrady have been speaking to Joy News after the sentence.
6 years, in fact. So how many money?
Personally, I think the 6-year sentence is too much, even though she has made a mistake. I think the judge should reduce the sentence, but I understand that some mistakes are not desirable. So we must be careful with the steps that we take, because as she goes to jail, she is going to be affected, and so we should all learn from it. Kidnapping is becoming a trend here in Takrady. So if they do that, others will also learn from it. But I think they should consider reducing the 6-year sentence because she is a young lady. At least 3-year sentence would be better, since it is a caution. What these people are doing is disgracing the people of Takrady. If they need financial help, they should ask for it, rather than fake a kidnapping. If this happens again, the culprits will be given 10 years imprisonment.
Even though the years are many, I wouldn't say it's harsh. I feel what they are doing is to deter other people from doing same, because it's making Takrady unpopular. Where else would you hear that someone has been kidnapped? The word kidnap is very alarming. So why would you say you were kidnapped when you weren't? What the judge has done is a principle that no one would want to break. Ladies these days are stubborn. They love money. I think the 6 years is small. 10 years would have been better, so that next time someone else would learn from it. When they do it, they will get 20 years. However, the court reduced the cumulative jail term to 6 years because Joanna Crowe is a first-time offender, showed remorse during her initial appearance on Monday, coupled with the fact that she has a 3-year-old son. While in prison, her child is to be in the custody of her adopted father, whom she had attempted to extort money from by faking the kidnapping incident. In Athalia's report for Joy News.
From court, let me take you to Parliament. The minority there is accusing the National Petroleum Authority of illegally collecting levies on petroleum products. According to ranking member on the Finance Committee, Kezela Tuforsen, these levies have been reviewed upwards by 200% since the NPP assumed office. We'll hear from him shortly, but first, listen to his colleagues on the Mines and Energy Committee who are demanding a removal of the special petroleum taxes imposed on petroleum products from the 2022 budget. According to ranking member John Jinapor, this would provide some respite for Ghanaians suffering from the hikes in fuel prices. Kwesi Parker-Wilson has more.
The view that the special petroleum tax imposed on petroleum products must be suspended in the 2022 budget. This will provide some respite for Ghanaians from the agonizing high cost of fuel at the pumps. Why do we make this claim? If you look at the 2021 budget, the benchmark petroleum price was pegged as $54.75 per barrel. Today, as we speak, the world market price has risen to $85, representing an increment of 55%. So if you take what we projected and what is actually happening, it means that petroleum prices have increased by 55%. As a net exporter of petroleum prices, we have done the computation and we have come to a conclusion that from the initial amount of $800 million that we were projecting to receive, we are likely to hit $1.2 billion by the end of the year. So we are moving from $800 million to $1.2 billion. The special petroleum tax was imposed because of shortage of revenues, especially from exports. And so if today there's a reverse, and the exports are reining in all these revenues, it only makes sense that in the 2022 budget, this tax ought to be suspended.
Ranking member on the committee, John Jinapor, who addressed the media, also cautioned Dr. Bawumia, the vice president, against false claims about the state of the Ghanaian city.
The economic management team, under the leadership of Dr. Bawumia, have lost it and must sit up. Indeed, they must be proactive and work with the Bank of Ghana to release forex as and when necessary.
We can now hear from Tuforsen, who is demanding that the NPA halts the collection of the Unified Petroleum Price Fund, bust margin, and the full margin.
In fact, going through the Public Financial Management Act, Section 47, and let me read Section 47. Section 47(1) says, a covered entity, an NPA, the National Petroleum Authority, is a covered entity. A covered entity shall not collect or receive revenue except where the covered entity is authorized by an act of Parliament to collect and receive the revenue. Clearly, the National Petroleum Authority is collecting these revenues illegally. Illegally. So they are engaging in an act of an illegality. They are acting with impunity. And we want to serve a notice to the NPA that from today, they should stop collecting the UPPF, they should stop collecting the bust margin, and stop collecting the fuel margin, because it is illegal.
Abdul Kudus is Head of Communications and Corporate Affairs Manager at the National Petroleum Authority. He joins us via Zoom. Thank you very much for joining us. How do you respond to the claims of illegality leveled against you, that is the NPA?
Thank you very much. I seem to be a little confused, pardon me here, because you talked about illegality and then you talked about increase. I don't know whether the illegality is in the increase or the illegality is in the collection of the margins that he so outlined. He spoke about the bust margin. He spoke about the fuel margin. Then he spoke about the UBPF margins.
Exactly.
These are matters of status, okay? And I think that for probably the sake of your viewers, if you refer to LI 2186 passed in 2012, it actually mandates the National Petroleum Authority to collect some of these margins as part of the price build-up. So it is not as though the NPA on its own decided to impose these margins on the price build-up. But in fact, they are part of the statute that was passed in 2012. LI 2186. So I'm not too sure where his issue of illegality is. Is it in the margin or in the increase? I'm not too sure what it is.
He talks about the 200% increase, which he thinks is too much for the ordinary citizen. But then the collection is what he seems to not be comfortable with and says it's an illegality. But what does the 2012 law talk about an increase? Do you need parliamentary approval to increase those margins if you want to?
No. It actually conferred that particular responsibility on the NPA, particularly for the fuel marking and then the UBPF. The post margin is not something that is primarily the determinant of an NPA. But the fuel marking, the UBPF, have been properly defined the reasons for which they should be collected. Okay, so the fuel marking basically is supposed to work around the adulteration and to ensure that what is actually sold at the pump is safer for the consumption of the consumer. Then the UBPF is virtually supposed to work around the transport cost so that wherever you are buying fuel at is the same, irrespective of the location. So these are things that the airline actually mandates the NPA. And like I said, it is something that was passed in Parliament. I'm not too sure. I believe at that time, Honorable Atufosun was there. Maybe we would have to find out from him again what exactly is his issue. If it is in the quantum that he's talking about, it has actually been revised regularly from the day of its operation. So it is not as if it has gone up for the first time. Like I said, it is supposed to do certain issues that is supposed to really cure. So if it is supposed to work out for the quality of fuel, it takes markets that is used in doing that. So when the prices of those markets are going up, obviously there will be a variation in the percentage in the price build up from the day of its inception to now.
Very well.
So if it is about the legality of the collection, it is actually mandated by Parliament, and NPA is within its right to do this particular collection.
And once I have you, Kudus, let me just find out about the levies that were taken off for the next 2 months based on the NPA's advice to the ministry. Now Parliament has resumed. How soon can we expect that these charges are passed and then effected by the NPA for reflection at the pump?
Okay, so if you refer to our release that we did the first time the issue was actually communicated to the public,
yes.
In our second but last paragraph, we actually referred to the Ministries of Energy and Finance working to get the legislative processes for us to implement this particular command by government. We've since been given that particular go-ahead, and from 1st November, the component of that levy will not form part of the price build-up, at least for 2 months as directed by government.
And so from the 1st of November, if I go to the pump, I should see a reflection, which I told should be about 16 pesos reduction in the price of fuel per litre.
Holding every other thing constant.
Thank you very much. That's Abdul Kudus. He's the head of communications and corporate affairs at the National Petroleum Authority. You're watching Joy News Prime with me, Ernest Mino. The induction of Professor Nana Abba Apia Amfo as Vice Chancellor of the University of Ghana is underway. She will be the first female Vice Chancellor of the university. She takes over from Professor Ebenezer Owusu Odro, who handed over early this year. Let me now take you to the induction ceremony, which is happening right now.
Come with it. As CEO of arguably the most complex public institution in the country, and undeniably the premier university in this country, with a student population of 61,000 and a staff strength of 6,500, my job is well cut out for me, and it is no mean one. Madam Chair, the University of Ghana has over the years lived up to its mandate, but this has not been easy. Each epoch of our existence came along with its own peculiar challenges, some of which persist to date, even as new challenges emerge. Successive vice chancellors have guarded our rich intellectual tradition, which I am duty-bound to sustain and enrich further. Mr. President, Madam Chair, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, my vision as Vice Chancellor is to create a culture that promotes research, teaching and learning, administrative processes and extension activities driven by technology and anchored in humanism. My vision aligns with our aspiration as a university to become a world-class research-intensive university, with a mission to create an enabling environment that makes UG increasingly relevant to national and global development through cutting-edge research as well as high-quality teaching and learning. In our quest to produce knowledge and expert human resources, we will not forget the essence of universities. Whatever we do, we should strive to remain humane, noting that the university should be for the public good. We have what it takes to show the nation the way, and it should not just be by our talk, but we should actually walk the talk. And that is what my leadership stands for. We will face some uncomfortable moments as we seek after truth and attempt to reconcile our differences. My pledge is to lead us to build our future together. Mr. President, Madam Chair, University of Ghana's vision is driven by 9 strategic priorities. These are research, teaching and learning, internal stakeholders, gender and diversity, institutional processes, financial performance, asset management, monitoring and evaluation, and external stakeholders. My overarching plan is to drive the aspirations of UG through technology and humanism. I will do so through 6 key strategic objectives, KSOs, and they are as follows. The first is to reinvigorate impactful research in the sciences, applied sciences, and humanities, resulting in increased research income, exponential growth of research outputs such as publications, improved citations, and vibrant community engagements. The second KSO is to develop technology-driven and robust processes in research management, teaching and learning, and all other institutional processes. The third is to strengthen traditional revenue streams and expand alternative income sources to meet our debt obligations as well as our current institutional needs, and ensure the robustness of mechanisms for the prudent management of resources to guarantee value for money and safeguard sound decision-making in all transactions to ensure success and avoid failures and debts. The fourth KSO is to lead a vibrant and responsive governance and management system which empowers the colleges and directorates and promotes efficiency, effectiveness, accountability, and a sense of responsibility while ensuring adherence to UG's basic laws and other relevant national laws and regulations. The fifth KSO is to increase UG's visibility and hence rankings by, among others, some of which I've already mentioned, ensuring a strong web presence through aggressive propagation of our achievements and outputs via appropriate media, including social media and web outlets. And the final KSO is to create a sense of ownership and commitment among students, faculty, staff, and alumni to promote creativity and innovation. Mr. President, Madam Chair, I will seek to execute these 6 key strategic objectives while insisting on innovation, efficiency, and humanism. As we pursue our 3-pronged core mandate of teaching and learning, research and community engagement, we will innovate, be efficient, and above all, we will remain human. As Vice Chancellor, I will adopt a doctrine that is centered on humanism. This doctrine holds that as a society, we thrive on collectivism rather than individualism. To implement this, I will harness the individual talents that abound in this university for our collective good. We will unite with oneness of purpose, community, and the strength symbolized by the Edinkra symbol in Konsong Konsong. I cannot successfully lead this university by working alone or with a small section of people I perceive to be aligned with me. I will inspire our community of academics, staff, and students to join hands to improve the state of all aspects of our university and to continue to develop beyond the scope of our imagination. These actions will be guided by our 4 core values of integrity, commitment, respect, and loyalty. Madam Chair, I will leverage talents in the University of Ghana to advance our research vision to create a vibrant intellectual climate that stimulates relevant cutting-edge research and community engagement. I will promote creativity and innovation in teaching and learning driven by technology. Our classrooms will be modernized to allow for the use of modern pedagogical aids, which permit, among other things, lecture capture for reuse in non-contact situations. Certainly, COVID-19 has taught us 1 or 2 things. Our faculty will receive continuous training in modern pedagogical skills. My goal as Vice Chancellor would be for the university to train students who are critical thinkers, technologically adept, humane, culturally sensitive, and ready to provide leadership for the country and the continent. I will focus on developing 21st century citizenry skills of our students. It doesn't matter whether you are an engineering, mathematics, nursing, political science, or theater arts student. Through our program content and delivery, our students and graduates ought to be ready for the 4th industrial revolution. Mr. President, drawing a cue from you, I intend to institute a 1 student, 1 laptop policy. Where we collaborate with established IT companies to provide our students and staff with their own laptop or handheld devices. Mr. President, in this regard, we will need your support and that of your government Mr. President, in this regard, we will need your support and that of your government to waive taxes for us, making these devices affordable for our students and staff. And we also encourage all well-endowed companies to support us, especially with regard to our needy students. The need for them to acquire their own laptops or handheld devices is critical in a period where we are upscaling technology to make us functional in the fourth industrial revolution as we live through and beyond a health pandemic. Mr. President, Madam Chair, as part of a double-pronged approach to make our education more accessible to the teeming high school graduates from all over the country, partly due to the nation's free SHS policy, and to upscale graduate education on our main campus, I am supervising the establishment of 2 city campuses already approved by Council in Kumasi and Takoradi, and I will monitor their operations and replicate the model in other learning centers across the country. Madam Chair, our internal stakeholders are the key drivers of our strategic processes. It is critical for us to have forward-thinking academics, meticulous administrators, committed professionals, and engaged students who would all work together in a congenial environment to own the processes leading to the realization of our strategic objectives. Our HR systems, including our recruitment processes, will be reworked to align with our strategy. To motivate staff and faculty, colleges and central administration will be directed to introduce or reintroduce various periodic award schemes, some of which I notice have already started. I will translate my passion for leadership development to help groom the next generation of leaders at the University of Ghana. This objective will be accomplished through a meritorious program focused on honing the skills of a cadre of potential leaders through actively involving them in university governance and management, and providing and facilitating structured leadership and management training programs through a Legon Leadership Academy. I will lead the university to improve our student services through expanded and more accessible careers and counseling services, improved tutorial services, modernized market on Legon campus, increased student accommodation through private participation, and internal and external internship opportunities driven by an internship policy. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is well established that gender, diversity, and inclusion is a mark of world-class institutions. The promotion of these humanistic values definitely improves organizational outlook. We will create a sense of appreciation of diversity and inclusion. I will lead an upgrade of the Office of Students with Special Needs to a Center for Disability Studies and Advocacy, to better position us to address the needs of differently abled people, and also developed a phase plan to make our buildings and facilities accessible to differently abled persons. Mr. President, Madam Chair, one of the key issues which has consumed the management of UG in recent years is our financial liabilities resulting mainly from judgment debts and botched agreements. Mr. President, I would like to make a special appeal to you for your government to deliver us from this yoke that hinders our growth and efforts to be truly world-class. I am making a special appeal to you to support us to clear our unfortunate UGL debt so we can get a clean slate to start on. We will also, on our part, work hard to increase our alternative income streams. We will increase our research consultancy and external funding income, increase special programs across the colleges, streamline our non-traditional income sources, operationalize and grow UG and college endowment funds, and continue to resource our newly established Office of Institutional Advancement to be a major fundraising unit of the university. Current efforts to minimize waste through stringent financial controls will be sustained. Madam Chair, the value of a 21st century university is in the wealth of the knowledge it produces, the training it offers, and its perceived relevance to its external publics. We will build effective partnerships with our external stakeholders for our mutual benefit. I will continue with efforts to strengthen our alumni relations by working closely with the Alumni Relations Office of the Office of Institutional Advancement and the UG Alumni Association Council to revamp sectional alumni groups and deliver projects and programs of mutual concern. The success of the implementation of our strategic objectives hinges on our ability to mainstream and enforce structures and processes for system-wide monitoring and evaluation. We will develop parameters for continuous evaluation of our processes and appointive officers, even as we prepare to start the process of preparing a new 10-year strategic plan. Mr. President, Madam Chair, as I conclude, I would like to remind myself and all that these are challenging times to be a Vice Chancellor of any university, not least of the premier and most complex university in our country. Over the past 73 years, the University of Ghana has sought to embody what universities stand for. UG has provided an avenue for frank intellectual discourse and succeeded in training highly skilled human resource for our nation and the international community. Our alumni serve in leadership positions at home and abroad. They provide critical workforce for local, regional, and international institutions. The University of Ghana has shown significant leadership in higher education in Ghana and West Africa. We have faced challenges in the past and have always responded with resilient reorganization and restructuring to get ourselves back on track each and every time. We can only get finer and better as we move towards our 75th anniversary in just about 2 years. Madam Chair, as I end, I remember the words of our revered late Emeritus Professor J.H. Kwabena Nketia, captured in our anthem, that we are, and I quote, the nation's hope and glory, the place that bears the star of peace and bids us all to do our best. Let the great tower of learning inspire both young and old to proceed in unity to uphold the public cause. End of quote. And so I reach out to all associated with Legon, starting with our distinguished alumni, which will mean Mr. President, the Speaker of Parliament, is it Honorable Jose Wusu that I see here? Yes. Please tell Mr. Speaker that I said so. So come with him and all of you to come and support us. Our Chancellor, Council Chair, and our numerous alumni here at home and abroad. Our cherished students, ingenious faculty, hardworking staff, and our dear friends, all as members of the Legon fraternity.
And so that there is the Vice Chancellor of the University of Ghana, Professor Nana Aba Appiah-Amfo. She is the first female Vice Chancellor of the University of Ghana. Now, we'll take you back there when the President mounts the stage to speak. But before that, let's bring you some more stories here on Joining Prime. The minority in Parliament has described as unconstitutional attempts by the Greater Accra Regional Minister, Henry Korte, to ban the use of tricycles on the highways. The NDC MPs argued that the move has no backing of the law. The regional minister, as part of efforts to enforce road regulations in the capital city, has announced a ban on aboboyas from the motorway effective November 1. But ranking member on the Roads and Transport Committee, Governs Kwame Adboja, wants the minister to seek parliamentary approval before the operationalization of the bylaws.
They are not going to allow aboboya, in other words, tricycles that carry especially refuse from households and other things, and attempt to take them to Tema where the recycling plant is. My brothers and sisters, you are aware the reason that Boboya are doing that is because that is where the treatment plant is. We don't have enough treatment plant within Accra itself. So if you see them on the highway going to Tema, it's simply because there's no other way they can dump it. So if the minister says somewhere next year they are going to stop them, let him be aware he is overstepping the authority under his watch. There's no law in this country that gives power to a regional minister to determine which vehicles drive on which roads. That is within the purview of the National Road Safety Authority and the Ministry of Road and Transport. The only way you should believe what the regional minister is saying is if he can quote a law that backs it. District assemblies and regional coordinating councils can't make a law and say vehicles cannot drive on a particular road. Indeed, I would have expected that we could even have a cycle lane along the motorway. So somebody who lives in Tema, who likes biking, can ride the motorbike or bicycle from Tema to Accra. We don't have that one now. That is what we need to be looking at the moment. So for the regional minister to say that they are going to ban the use of tricycles, I tell him, whilst you have a reason, you are just like treating malaria with paracetamol.
Regional Minister, however, insists all 20 MPs in the Greater Accra region have consented to the ban to take effect November 1.
Where you have the likes of Ayoso West Wogon, Tema West Municipal Assembly, Ashaman, and then TMA, in whose jurisdiction these menace and nuisance are being committed, and then they come together, and this is not an only omnibus. All the 29 assemblies have passed a bylaw, and they are saying that because of A, B, C, D, and you alluded to the fact, say, when you go to places, you travel a lot, you are a ranking member. I want you to point one to me in any of the developed countries where there is an aboboya on the motorway. Just give me one for listeners to listen to. Because even per the Motor Traffic Regulations Act, LI 2180, there is a particular speed limit that a vehicle should be able to go on a road. Are you telling me that aboboyas meet those speed limits as a ranking member of roads and transport? Are you telling the whole world that aboboyas, they meet that this thing? Then I'm afraid, what are we doing in Parliament then? In any case, I'm a member of Parliament. I'm not an assemblyman. I'm a colleague like you. And I'm also in Parliament, so I understand parliamentary procedures. I don't think you should make it look like I don't understand parliamentary procedures. No. In any case, now let me ask you a question. When you asked me to get your road fixed, did you see me as a road minister? You spoke to me to get road fixed for you. I'm not a road minister. Why did you pass it through me? Why didn't you get a road minister to do it? Because I didn't have the powers to do it. This is not fair.
The regional minister Henry quoted there. Let me take you now back to the Great Hall of the University of Ghana, where the induction ceremony of the first female vice chancellor is underway. The president is now speaking.
Chairperson of Council, Vice Chancellor, members of the Council of State, the Deputy Minister for Education, a Member of Parliament for Abuakwa North, the First Deputy Speaker of Parliament and Member of Parliament for Bekwai, Justices of the Supreme Court, all former Vice Chancellors and the Deputy Governors of the Bank of Ghana, members of Convocation, your Mahine of Asante Asokore and other traditional rulers, alumni and students, fellow Ghanaians, ladies and gentlemen. Today is indeed a historic day. From the founding of the university in 1948, 73 years ago, as a result of the work and sacrifices of Ghanaian patriots led by the late immortal Joseph Boachi Dankwa, JB to all and sundry, the university has had a succession of principals and vice chancellors of varying degrees of distinction, but who have all been male. That tradition has now fortunately been broken. The premier university, the University of Ghana, Legon, has as of now a new vice-chancellor who is female. Professor Nana Abba Apia Amfo, warm congratulations on your achievement and the best of luck and God's guidance in the discharge of your duties. Our country is undergoing some significant reforms in her educational system, the most far-reaching of which is the significant broadening of access to education at all levels of the educational structure. It is as well that it should be so. We need to mobilize all the talents and resources of the entire population without discrimination or reserve to make the decisive push for the social and economic transformation which we all seek for our beloved nation of Ghana. Those who have the privilege of leadership in our educational structure have unprecedented challenges before them. I'm confident that the premier university, a status that will be attached to Legon forever, has in our new vice-chancellor chosen a person who will be adequate to this formidable task. I congratulate the University Council under the redoubtable leadership of the former Chief Justice, Sophia Akuffo CJ, for this radical decision. With a female chancellor in the person of Mary Chinwe Hesse, males in the academic hierarchy of Legon may well begin to feel a threatened species. I believe they have no cause to worry. It just happens to be the time of the women. It is okay. They have waited long enough. Madam Vice-Chancellor, Professor Nana Abba Apia Amfo, Aiko, and God's blessings, and you will definitely have my support and be hopefully your successful advocate with the Minister for Finance. Thank you very much.
President Akufo-Addo speaking at the induction ceremony of Professor Nana Abba Apia Amfo, who is now the first female vice-chancellor of the University of Ghana. This is Joy News Prime with me, Anas Mini. We're taking a break. When we return, we'll bring you more stories. Don't go away. And I'm bringing you showbiz today. My brother KMJ is not here, but reggae dancehall artist Shatta Wale and hip life singer Medical reappeared before an Accra Circuit Court to continue their respective legal battles. Shatta Wale was held before the court for the publication of false news and causing fear and panic. Now, in the case of Medical, he was charged for unlawful display of arms and ammunition. They both pleaded not guilty to the charges. Mapito Sabidi of Entertainment Dex was at the Accra Circuit Court Tuesday and reports that the musicians were in a solemn mood. And shares more in the following report.
Today, October 26, 2021, two of Ghana's biggest musicians, Shatta Wale and Medical, fought their respective legal battles. A week ago, Shatta Wale was charged with publication of false news, which he pleaded not guilty. Here is Shatta Wale's lawyer, Jerry Agvenugbo.
Shatta Wale was granted self-recognizance bail. And the other associates, the other three individuals in the matter, were also granted bail with one surety
Medical, on the other hand, was charged with unlawful display of arms and ammunition, which he pleaded not guilty. In his second appearance at the Accra Circuit Court, he was granted bail of 100,000 Ghana cedis with one surety. The Shatta movement represented in their numbers, and I spoke to a few of them.
Oh, I'm very happy, I'm very excited because that's the main reason why we are here today. We've prayed a lot, and God has granted us our wish, so we are very happy.
I ain't got nothing to say, all I got to say is new revolution.
Yeah, free wallet.
SM for life, you know. No Ghana, free SM. SM is for the youth president. The movement. Free word board. Free word board. Free word board.
Last week I was before. Shimon Agbada, even my brother. Today will be free.
And you're happy about that?
You say what?
More happy.
We need Shatta.
For the first time, taking spiritual team to court. It's not only Shatta wanted to change that thing for Ghana. Therefore, listen to them for watching the good side. Maybe not watch the bad side. He's trying to bring change into our country. Yeah, we're a big issue. Yeah, IP IGP. We are IP the IGP. We are IP him. SM is IP the IGP.
The case has been adjourned to November 9. So we can say that the two musicians, Shatta Wale and Medical, can continue with their La Hasolo in their newfound freedom. For Joy Entertainment, I am Mapito CBD.
And that's it for Showbiz. If you're watching us on Joy Prime, that's it for the bulletin. Thank you very much for joining us. If you're on Joy News, you have more stories for you. Please don't go away. Thanks for staying with us here on Joy News Prime. There shall be no delays in passing the anti-gay bill as the Speaker of Parliament makes it a top priority on its first day of sitting from recess. In fact, the sitting of the Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee considering the bill will be public as the Speaker insists the public ought to know the stance of every single member of Parliament on the bill. This assurance comes on the heels of agitations for the debate on the controversial bill to be made public. In his welcome address to the House after a 3-month break, Speaker of Parliament Alban Badmin called for an honest conversation on the bill devoid of political and religious sentiments.
Parliament reconvened today to continue with its activities. This is after the House went on a recess for almost 3 months. The Speaker indicated that the debate on the anti-LGBT bill and the decision of the House would be made public.
I know Ghanaians are expectant, and I know we have over 100 petitions before the Committee on Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs, but we'll try not to allow any filibustering of this bill. Because it's not only Africa, the whole world is looking for the outcome of this bill. And so we will not just allow people to come and try to delay the process. We'll make the process public, and I support what the majority leader said. The sitting of the committee will be public, and the decision of this House will be public. We will want to know where each member of Parliament stands.
The minority leader, Haruna Idrisu, agrees with the Speaker.
And trust that our Committee on Constitutional Legal will engage appropriately the people of Ghana and the petitioners. Mr. Speaker, it is not for nothing that Article 106 provides that bills are gazetted for purpose of elucidating input from the public. And it should not stay per outstanding orders more than 3 months within the committee. We expect the Committee of Constitutional Legal to lead Parliament living up to that litmus test of an anti-LGBTQI legislation and nothing more. One that reflects our values, our morality, and the wishes of the generality of our society.
On the part of the majority leader, Osei Mensah Bonsu, he dismissed claims that the NPP is not in support of the bill.
When people begin to talk to that issue, that, oh, let there be sunshine on the consideration of the bill, I wonder what people are talking about. Because the consideration of every bill is here in plenary. The TV cameras are here. They have always been here. So for people who raise issues and make it appear as if we consider saying in some quiet place outside the chamber and then nobody sees what goes on, the Speaker, really, an unfortunate picture is painted outside. Unfortunately, some colleagues in this House also added to the confusion and made it appear as if Parliament has been doing things that are untoward.
The Northeast Regional Chief Imam Alhaji Adam Nasamu Said has asked members of Parliament in the region to vote in support of the anti-LGBTQI bill. Now, according to the Imam, the region will not accept the practice of LGBTQ and all its related activities. He has therefore cautioned that any MP who will stand against the passage of the bill will suffer the consequence. He spoke with regional correspondent Ilyasu Tanko.
The chief imam was speaking to Joy News on the sidelines of a graduation ceremony in Walewale. Our MPs, we are asking them to vote to reject the legalization of the practice and support the bill. Anything else is a betrayal, and we could withdraw our support for them. So reject it. We don't accept it. The Imam also revealed that aside from the daily recitations of the Quran, special prayers were being offered against the evil forces pushing for the practice to gain a foothold in the country. Since we heard about the debate, we have been offering prayers, special sermons and counseling sessions for the youth not to indulge in the satanic practice. It is a sin we must all avoid. The Imam described the practice as satanic, which must not be accepted in any Ghanaian society. At the ceremony, some residents of the region also shared their opinions on the subject.
What I have
to tell our MPs, DCs, as well as other opinion leaders is that they should reject the practice. They should vote in support of the bill because the practice is against the teachings of our Islam religion. Pleading with our parliamentarians to ensure this practice does not come into the country, because it will tarnish our image and also sabotage the mercy of Allah upon the country. I am also begging the MPs not to accept this to happen in the country, because it will destroy the country if allowed. Ghana is no such country, and may Allah help us to protect the country. Ilyasu Tanko reporting.
One of the mandatory tests he has to perform to climax the Damba festival is jumping over the cow as the overlord of the Wala kingdom. It is to test his physical strength and his ability to lead his people. He's expected to jump over the cow without part of his body or the gown he's wearing touching the cow. Now, it is considered a bad omen for the kingdom should he fail to have a successful jump over the cow and may not live till the next Damba festival. This is the dilemma the overlord of the Wala traditional area, Wana Hussein Seidu Pelpo IV, found himself in. Joy News' Upper West Regional Correspondent Rafiq Salam was at the climax of the Wala Damba Festival and reports from Wa.
The mood inside the over-century-old Wala's palace is pensive, somber, tear-eyed, and silent prayers for the Wala overlord. Close family members of the Wala overlord, now Hussein Seidu Pelpo IV, would have wished that a day like this is not on the itinerary of the Dumba Festival.
Each year, he is supposed to jump over the cow to test his physical strength. According to the customs and traditions of the people here, should he fail to jump successfully over the cow, he may not live for the succeeding year.
Member of Parliament for the West Central constituency, Dr. Rashid Hassan Pilipu, himself a cousin of the overlord, explained further.
It is used to test two things: the spiritual capability of the Wana to be able to continue to rule, and through his physical capacity to continue to be a ruler. Every single time the Wana fails to jump over the cow, it signifies the end of his kingdom, his rule over his kingdom. And so when it is happening, those of us who are so close to him, his children, his brothers, we are anxious and we want to see it happen.
In previous years, the Wala overlord always appears at the forecourt wearing a red-faded century-old smock he inherited from his grandfather, Napilpo III. He, however, appeared today wearing brown Tasmanic smock over American Timberland shorts, sandwiched by members from the 12 recognized sections in the Wala community. His warriors, close associates, and the imams led him to go around the cow 7 times, while the latter counted a chaplet amid recitation of some verses from the Holy Quran. After several rounds of going round and secretly peeping the cow, the overlord was successful for the 14th time. And there was spontaneous jubilation, bringing smiles to all and sundry gathered here.
It was a moment of anxiousness and a moment of worry, and those who were watching, as soon as it happened, I jumped up with excitement. I saw his children who were crying now begin to smile through tears, and everything went on the way we expected.
The Dumba Festival, celebrated by the chiefs and people in the northern Gulf of the country, started as an Islamic festival to commemorate the birth of Prophet Muhammad. It is also an occasion to showcase the rich culture and traditions of the people. This year's celebration of the Wala Dumba was held on the theme raising the awareness of the COVID-19 pandemic, the role of traditional authorities. Chief Director at the Upper West Region Coordinating Council, Peter Mala, who spoke on behalf of the Upper West Region Minister, urged the people not to let their guards down on the pandemic, adding that the country is not out of the woods yet.
It is therefore not surprising that the theme for this year's Dumba Festival celebration is well couched to remind us of the need not to let down our guards, but to be more cautious to the fact that there is a new wave of the pandemic, who requires that we continue to adhere to all the existing protocols of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Reporting for the news, Rafik Salam.
Altering your body with tattoos, body piercing, or bleaching your skin could dash your plans of getting enlisted with the regimental institutions. That is the advice to applicants as thousands in the Ashanti region go through selection processes to assess job opportunities with the Immigration Service. Applicants are getting disqualified due to their height, foot structure, body alteration and documentation. Love FM's Erastus Saridonko observed the Ghana Immigration Service process for enlistment in Kumasi and our reports.
Please, I'm begging you. Yeah, don't worry. Just give us a phone, okay? No.
Tears roll as some applicants get rejected in their bid to get enlisted into the Ghana Immigration Service.
Stop crying.
One of the major disqualification factors is height.
Very sad.
I couldn't meet the target with regards to the height.
Minimum 1 meter 73 centimeters for males and 1 meter 63 centimeters for females.
When you input your data into the system, you enter your own height, what you have. But they will be checking the height physically on the ground to see whether what you put into the system is the correct one.
Chief Superintendent Alfred Fifi Okran, in charge of intelligence, explains.
Because he wanted a system to pick him, he inputted a height which is not original so that the system can qualify him for him to get entrance. So that is why we are here to do the physical checking. So those who have manipulated the system by inputting wrong information, physically when we check, they will take you out. And the moment we disqualify you, the system close your page automatically. So there's no way you can find a way to come back onto the entrance so that you can still go through the system.
Disqualification also stretches into the realm of other factors like tattoos and body piercings.
The search for your body, tattoo, all those piercing, ear piercing. So if you have one, you are not qualified for that.
I was kind of nervous, but I went through, so it was.
You have a great body. Were they mesmerized by that?
Well, they were actually really tough on us, but we actually went through.
There should be no piercing for males. Yes, that one will automatically disqualify you because it's part of the standard that was set. For females, there should be one piercing. If it's more than one, will be disqualified. With tattoo, visibly will disqualify you, both male and female, because it's part of the standard. Uniform has our own language, and there are basic standards that we set. No tattoos, no double piercing or excessive, no excessive stretch marks, then scars, surgical scars.
Today, the process is moving faster and the numbers are going down. For some, it's the end of the road, but for others, it's a progression to the next stage.
If you see people coming through this lane, it means they've been disqualified by height. If you see them coming through this lane, it means they've been disqualified by body selection, and they have what they are looking for. Those who are coming through here on the larger part have sailed through. It is yet to be seen how many will be disqualified and how many will be writing the aptitude test on Saturday. But definitely somebody will be picked. Reporting for Joy News, Erastus Asaredonko, Kumasi.
Time now for the NSMQ, and St. Thomas Aquinas, Chimu SHS Odogono Senior High School have all booked a place at the 1/8 stage of the main National Science and Maths Quiz competition, which started Tuesday. The current and old students of St. Thomas Aquinas SHS say the dream to win a second trophy is on course. The cantonment-based institution is the only day school that has ever won an NSMQ trophy. Maxwell Adwaba has more in this report.
SHS has qualified to the 1/8 stage of the competition in Kumasi. Excited. They are excited right now. The old Toms are also here. We'll be speaking to them shortly to find out from them what it means to them. The 1/8 stage. They won their first NSMQ in the year 2013. They are hoping to win it for the second time in 2021. Let's speak to them. Congratulations, guys. Congratulations. Let me speak to the contestants first. What was it like for you? 40 points, resounding victory for you guys. What should we expect in Kumasi?
You should expect an upgraded version of us.
Upgraded version.
Expect
Aquinas Pro Mass.
Yes.
We are going to work on our flaws and come back bigger and better in the next subsequent contest.
Okay.
So hope for the best. Hope for the best.
Okay. So we're definitely seeing you in Comerica. We've seen you in Kumasi. What are you telling the guys up there in Kumasi?
They should just watch out for Aquinas because you are bringing the best this time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We have some old Toms also in here. Old Tom, which year?
2014.
So the 2000-year group set up a committee, an NSMQ committee, to ensure that you win the trophy this year. Do you think that is happening?
Oh, very much. It's happening live in Khaled.
Live in Khaled?
Yes.
What makes you so confident? The last time you won was in 2013.
Yes. Okay, from 2013 and 2017, 2013 was good, 2017 was good, but 18, 19, 20 has been very bad. But this time around, we are fully prepared. Okay. Yeah. What you saw today is just the beginning.
Form 1 student here? Any Form 1? Fresher? Patrick, come.
It means a lot because being in St. Thomas Aquinas School is like a pride.
Okay.
And we know when we go there, we'll do well. So be expecting us. The school doesn't matter. It's what you know and what you are going to prove on the stage. So be expecting us.
Okay. What did you say is your name again?
Patrick.
Patrick, you'll be the school prefect in 2023. Say amen.
Amen.
Okay, so congratulations, guys. Great. So you just heard from them, the guys from St. Thomas Aquinas. They've qualified to the 1/8 stage of the National Science and Maths Quiz 2021 competition. We're definitely going to see them in Kumasi, where the 1/8 stage will take place. The 1/8 stage and the subsequent video contests. And the National Science and Maths Quiz is produced by Primetime Limited and sponsored by the Ghana Education Service. The broadcast by John News is also supported by Cowbell Puppets Pizza, Ace Medical Insurance, Dolay Yogurt, DBS Roofing Sheet, and Tampico. You're watching John News Prime. Still to come in business, Venture Capital Trust Fund targets youth employment in $45 million economic program.
Only for us, the Ministry of Finance has put us on the Ghana Economic Transformation Program, a program that is going to actually give us about 45 million USD that we are going to invest over the next 4 or 5 years.
And you're welcome to Business. I'm Charles Aiche. The Venture Capital Trust Fund is targeting youth empowerment in the next 2 years to support government initiatives aimed at reducing growing youth unemployment. Now, the fund is expected to inject about $45 million through fund management firms in support of youth innovation and entrepreneurship. The chief executive of the Venture Capital Trust Fund, Yao Subrimpong, disclosed this to Joy Business after launching the Ghana Venture Capital and Private Equity Association in Accra. We have more in this report.
Growing unemployment has been a concern for government in the past few years due to the security implications. Supporting startups and young entrepreneurs is expected to be high on the agenda of the Venture Capital Trust Fund with a $45 million fund from the World Bank. According to Chief Executive Yao Subrimpong, the processes will begin by the close of the year.
Venture capital can actually partner with a lot of fund managers to fund startup companies so that we can actually create a lot of entrepreneurs in the country. Fortunately for us, the Ministry of Finance has put us on the Ghana Economic Transformation Program, a program that is going to actually give us about 45 million USD that we are going to invest over the next 4 or 5 years. There are a lot more that will be coming in addition to the 45 million. Once we start accessing those funds, we are going to create a lot of funds in the area of youth entrepreneurship, women in entrepreneurship, and then even disabled or people with physical disability in entrepreneurship. So there are a lot more in the pipeline, and we believe the future is going to be bright for venture capital and for entrepreneurs and fund managers as well.
Launching the association, Head of Financial Services at the Ministry of Finance, Samson Akligo, described it as timely and urged members to remain committed to the operations of the capital market.
That the launch of this association is very timely and reflects the real values and essence of what we need to grow our country. The figure from the SEC and from the Bank of Ghana tells us that in practice we are way behind what we should be. When you look at the data that we have, and it's quite revealing, pension funds today, because of the reform that we have done, are just about 5% of GDP. We all know, unfortunately, the precursor to the development of venture capital and private equity funds, which are the collective investment scheme, the basic ones, that's just about 0.7% of GDP.
The Ghana Venture Capital and Private Equity Association is a private sector-led initiative that is open to all private equity and venture capital firms operating in Ghana.
Now, some micro, small and medium-scale enterprises are capitalizing on opportunities in digitalization to grow their businesses post-COVID-19. Through increased presence on social media platforms and setting up of websites, these businesses have been able to reach global patrons in that regard. Nanaya Aljima has been engaging some business owners benefiting from the Ghana Enterprise Agency's COVID-19 SME Innovation and Digitalization Support Scheme and has come through with this report.
For 8 years, Cynthia Kamkwe has been manufacturing plant-based food and cosmetic products in the northern part of the country. She has managed to keep the business afloat, but profit margins have not increased as expected. The emergence of COVID-19 pandemic restricted her movement and affected her face-to-face business marketing. Cynthia compares how she sold her goods previously and selling online presently.
Through Instagram and Facebook especially, yes. And now people we didn't know from Nigeria and other countries are calling in. And sometimes we sell them in dollars instead of cedis. Yes, and this has increased our profit margins. Yeah.
Snail farmer Adams Salifu adopted social media and other platforms to grow his business. He says this has helped improve his knowledge of the business through the sharing of experience with others in the business. Market for the product has also increased.
Well, I have been able to network with other snail entrepreneurs to share ideas, because we have a Facebook or social media presence. We are visible there, so we have been able to connect and then share ideas as to the markets, as to the way to the production, and all that involves or talks about snail farming.
These entrepreneurs are part of 500 beneficiaries of the Ghana Enterprise Agency COVID-19 SME Innovation and Digitalization Support Scheme sponsored by the GIZ. An amount of 1.5 million euros went into the process of helping the selected businesses to digitalize. John Duty is team leader for special initiative on training and job creation at GIZ.
COVID-19 restricted our movement, but did not shut our mouths. We kept on eating. We used items in our homes, but we couldn't go out. So the only way we could buy was to go online to do purchasing. So irrespective of how you advertise yourself, but couldn't make yourself present online, then no one could access your products.
Meanwhile, the Ghana Enterprise Agency has reiterated support for SMEs. Deputy CEO Anna Amohemsen says the agency will continue to monitor growth of project beneficiaries.
Technical support was also very, very important. If we have to help entrepreneurs change their style of doing business to meet current trends in digitalization.
For Joy Business, Nanaya Aljima, Kumasi.
Now, the Maiden Women in Economic Transformation Forum explored avenues to empower women to play active roles in shaping Ghana's economic policies. The forum in Kumasi observed women's contribution to economic policies have not been properly represented in Ghana's economic discourse. The head of economics department at the KNUST, Professor Grace Nkansa Asante, says the focus of the forum is to enable the government to maximize human resource potential among women economists. Prince Apia has more in this report.
The Women in Economic Transformation Forum initiative
promotes women-led solutions to address developmental challenges in sub-Saharan Africa, especially on issues that affect women's economic growth. The forum brought together economists to fashion out ways to contribute to inclusive economic policy goals. Professor Grace Nkansa-Asante is representative of Women Economist Network.
We find out that women and men are not in the same employment conditions. Women have problems of glass ceiling. They do not rise to the topmost positions. And women also have to constantly make a choice between their domestic work and their career progression. So if women excel in their career and they underachieve at work, then they are stigmatized that as not being responsible mothers and as not being responsible wives. All these affect the society, all this affects the nation, because the nation is not able to also derive the maximum benefits from its human resource.
The penetration of automated machines and artificial intelligence in the labor space has become a concern for job seekers and employees. Professor Nkansa-Asante observes the government must be conscious of creating new jobs as alternatives to replace those lost in the era of digital penetration.
Certain jobs are going to disappear, but if the AI is being introduced by capitalists, then they want to reduce costs. So because they want to reduce costs, people will lose their jobs. So the question is how the Ghanaian state, for example, will set itself up to be able to predict what new jobs will be required to replace those that have been lost by automation. But the state has to take a central role. Otherwise, most Ghanaians will lose their jobs.
The forum was organized by the Women in Economics Network and the Economic Policy Competence Center of the Friedrich Ebert Stiftung, Ghana office. Johan Ivanov is resident director.
I think several outcomes should be there. First of all, we want to give women a platform. We want women to contribute to the overall discourse, to the overall debate on economic transformation, because we feel that women's ideas on economic policies are not properly reflected yet in the current debate.
The forum was under the theme Future of Work, Gender and Informality in Sub-Saharan Africa. Prince Apia reporting.
Now, the Ejima Kwawoma Rural Bank has posted 40% profit after tax for the 2020 financial year. Despite the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on the businesses, the bank grew its profits from 4.9 million cedis in 2019 to 5.4 million cedis as at the end of 2020. The chief executive, Dr. Safo Kantanka, says the bank's strategic plans show a more impressive performance by the end of 2021. He spoke at the 38th annual general meeting held at the Party number 2 in the Ashanti region. We have more in this report.
Deposits at the Ejima Kwawoma Rural Bank in the 2020 financial year increased by 40.1% from the 2019 figure. Amidst the uncertainty of the COVID-19 pandemic, the bank gave out loans of over 39 million cedis, which is a 12% increase from the 2019 figure of 34 million cedis. Dr. Safo Kantanka is the CEO.
With the COVID-19, we had to do face-to-face interaction with our customers. Sometimes adverts on TV and radio, it works all right, but when you get a human touch, they're able to tell you their problems. And if it's a loan issue, you'll be able to structure the loan such that there'll be a mutual benefit to the customer and then to the bank. Because sometimes individuals become defaulters through no fault of theirs. If you give bad terms and conditions, you tend to put too much pressure on the customer, and the customer will eat into his capital instead of using the profit to pay the loan.
Dr. Kantanka revealed the bank has put in measures to sustain the gains made in 2020.
Each branch has a relationship officer, and these relationship officers, normally they go out, mobilize potential old customers and potential ones, and then they monitor the account so that if an account is becoming dormant, The first thing to do is that we visit those accounts that have become dormant, and we try to reactivate those dormant accounts. If you reactivate those dormant accounts and you treat your customers very well, they go out and preach the good news about your bank.
In line with the Bank of Ghana directive, the Chumakwauma Rural Bank is now a public limited company. Board Chairman Patrick Owusu explains the move is critical to enhance the operations of the business.
Once you've acquired a new status, you have to work hard to penetrate areas that you think is fertile for business growth. So depending upon your resources, your assets, we can now work at any place.
Meanwhile, long-serving officials and other deserving members of the bank were recognized and awarded for their contribution to the bank's growth. Prince Apia reporting.
That'll be all for business, but I will leave you with international business news, after which we have sports. Do stay with us.
Good evening and welcome to the sports segment here on the Joy News Prime with me, Ore Kwampofo. Now, President of the Ghana Football Association, Keto Kreku, has outlined programs for the 2021-2022 football campaign. He ushered in the start of the football season, plus the introduction of impending competition for futsal and beach soccer. Two partners were also unveiled at the event. Joy Sports' Haruna Mubarak was there and came through with this report.
This by the Ghana Football Association President Ket Okreku, Chairperson of the Ghana Women's Premier League Hilary Boatin, and Chairman of the MTN FA Cup Wilson Arthur, means the Ghana Premier League, the Division 1 League, Women's Premier League and other domestic competitions can officially kickstart. For the GPL, which is on the horizon as it starts this Friday, the winner will take home 250,000 Ghana cedis. The second and third placed teams will also receive 150 and 80,000 Ghana cedis, respectively. The best referee at the end of the season will also be given a car. The club that emerges champion in the Women's Premier League will receive a prize money of 50,000 Ghana cedis, with the runner-up taking home 30,000 Ghana cedis. Partnership deals were unveiled as well at the event. Alhaji Al-Hassan Haruna, CEO of Procal Links Ghana Limited, signed a 3-year deal with the FA for Tempo Footballs to be the official match ball partner of the league. The GFA also announced Zaz Products as the official referee kits partner of the league for the next 3 seasons, and they will provide referee uniforms to all officials who officiate in the Ghana Premier League, the Division 1 League, and the Women's Premier League. Elsewhere, GFA boss Ket Okreku also unveiled plans for futsal and beach soccer as he hinted at the introduction of competitions for the 2 soccer sports.
The Ghana Football Association would this year also organize our maiden, beach soccer tournament in Pram Pram. Where's Yao? Oh, okay. Good morning, Yao. So for the first time, you will all be invited to Pram Pram for our maiden beach soccer tournament. Obviously, we're working on futsal, and hopefully we should be able to roll out a competition for futsal once the subcommittee responsible for futsal gets ready with the program for the season.
It's been 82 days since a ball was kicked on the local scene in a major competition, but on Friday the wait is over as the Ghana Premier League makes a return. Then the Division 1 League, the Women's League and other competitions will follow suit. Now at the end of the season, the club with the most wins and the most points will emerge as the champion. From the Secretariat of the Ghana Football Association, and for Joy Sports, I'm Haruna Mubarak.
Now to what all teams would be eyeing at the beginning of the season and keeping checks on the prize money for the 2021-2022 football season. And you can see there for the Ghana Premier League, the winner will still get 250,000 Ghana cedi. No changes from last season. The runner-up will take home 150,000 Ghana cedis. The second runner-up gets 80,000 cedis. And then the best referee would be taking home a car. All 18 teams would also be receiving 40 balls each. For the Division 1 League, we would see the zonal winners getting a car and then gold medals. Second place teams would be taking home 30,000 Ghana cedis and then 30 silver medals. Each of the 48 teams would also receive 40 balls. Then, of course, the women are also included. In the Women's Premier League, the winner would be taking home 50,000 Ghana cedi and 40 gold medals. Runner-ups take home 30,000 Ghana cedi and 40 silver medals. And each of the 20 clubs will receive jersey team bags, movable mini goalposts, balls, ball bags, cones, shin guards, and many more. Now let's do some more here, where after dropping into the CAF Confederation Cup following their mauling at the hands of Wydad Athletic Club, Heart of Oak have been drawn against JS Saoura from Algeria's top flight. The draw, which took place in Cairo this afternoon, saw 32 clubs from across Africa set in 4 different pots. Speaking to Gary Al-Smith, Insura FM's Nuhu Adams, Edge has to be wary of the threat the Algerians will pose.
Gary, JS Saoura is an unknown side when we talk of CAF competitions. I think their first appearance was in 2017. They were eliminated in the prelims by Enugu Rangers of Nigeria. 2019, they got to the group stages of the CAF Champions League, but very unfortunate, they couldn't advance from the group stage. This is their 3rd ever appearance in CAF competition. But you see, this is a North African side, and there's no way you can underrate them or underestimate them. Because in recent times, Ghanaian teams have faced unknown sides in North Africa and still got out of the competition. So there's no way we can write off JS Saoura. But looking at the teams that were possible to face House of Oak, JS Saoura is quite a fair draw and it's quite manageable by House of Oak. What House of Oak can do is get a very good scoreline in the first leg and then ensure that you go and qualify in the second leg, no matter the scoreline that you get in the second leg. Well, JS Saoura, as you said, are very strong at home. When they played in the CAF Champions League in 2017, Ali couldn't beat them in Algeria. They beat Simba and AS Vita Club at home. And in the last 25 matches in all competitions, they've not lost at home. The last time JS Saoura lost at home was 16 December 2019. So that should tell you that before you can qualify, you have to get a very good scoreline in the first leg, which House of Oak will play at Accra Sports Stadium before they travel to Algeria for the second leg. So JS Saoura, very unknown side, but history tells us that there's no way we can underrate them. MO Bejaya eliminated Ashanti Gold, they were unknown. GSM Bejaya eliminated Asante Kotoko, they were unknown. MCL Uma were unknown, they eliminated Asante Kotoko. So there's no way we can write or underrate this team.
Well, speaking of Heart of Oak's opponents, he has 7 things to know about them. That's JS Saoura. Ago in 2008 as a Jeunesse Sportive de la Saoura, and that was their first and initial name. Now that has changed over the years, and then first CAF appearance was in 2017, eliminated in the preliminaries, and then they made it to the group stages of the CAF Champions League in 2019. This will be their 3rd appearance in the African competition. They're very strong at home, and they held Al Ahly, beat Simba, AS Vita in 2017. Now here's an interesting one. They've not lost at home in the last 25 games in all competitions, and the last home loss in Africa was in December 2019. Well, that's how we wrap up the sports here. You can get some more sports stories on myjoyonline.com/sports or follow us on social media on Twitter @JoySportsGH. My name is Oreku Wampofo and the news continues right after this.
And that's our show for tonight. Many thanks for your company. You can find more stories when you log on to myjoyonline.com.